everybody, welcome to BrickVault. My name's Jack. Today is a LEGO Star Wars minifigure collection. This is every single Imperial Pilot minifigure ever made. And just as clarification, these 21 minifigures here are just the pilots and drivers. They're the ones operating the vehicles for the Empire, whether they are flying or walking. And before anybody gets confused, I will acknowledge that yes, there are other guys that are in certain cockpit areas, especially in the AT-ATs, that you might confuse as pilots or drivers, but I'm going to leave them classified as combat officers. Don't worry, they're all going to show up in another collection, but for now let's go on a ride through this collection with these 21 pilots. Okay, so starting in 2001, two minifigs were released. This first one here just being the generic TIE Fighter pilot. He came out in the set TIE Fighter 7146, as well as the TIE Bomber set 4479. The printing here is very simple. He comes with a helmet that is the exact Stormtrooper helmet, just printed in black. And I'd say this guy actually looks closest to maybe a Shadow Trooper. He's got a straight brown headpiece with no printing, that's underneath the helmet, and he sells for about $7 on BrickLink. Our second fig of 2001 is the Imperial Shuttle Pilot. He came from the set Imperial Inspection 7166, and he certainly looks like a happy little pilot. There's nothing much to be said about the detailing for this guy, but he is one of the only Imperial minifigs that came out with yellow skin. He sells for about $5 on BrickLink. And in 2003, we get our first AT-AT driver. He appeared in the set AT-AT 4483. He's got the same mold as a Stormtrooper helmet still, but the detailing is different and it looks a lot better with the red on the helmet matching up with a little bit of red on the detailing with the body. And here he does have printing on his back, which is new. He's got a simple yellow head underneath the helmet, and he sells for around $15 on BrickLink. That's pretty high for just a pilot minifig, but I think I can explain why a little bit further down the line in the collection. For now, we're going to jump up to 2004. This is yet again another just generic TIE Fighter pilot that's exactly the same as the previous one that we saw. Maybe not exactly, there is a slight bit of updated printing for the belt there. It's a little bit thicker with the gray. He came out in two sets, TIE Fighter 7263 and TIE Fighter Collection 10131. This minifig goes for $5, which makes him slightly cheaper than the original, which was $7, and I think that price difference has everything to do with the actual shade of brown on the head. This later version has a reddish brown head, where the original is a slightly darker brown, and I think that is a retired color now. And remember that AT-AT driver that's worth $15? 2007 has a repeat of this driver. He came out in the motorized walking AT-AT 10178, and he only retails for $6, and that's because the plastic used here, the gray specifically, is not the old gray that is retired like on the original. This guy came with a straight black head, and I think I got ahead of myself. There was one more TIE Pilot that came out in 2006, and he's exactly like the other two, except his head is also black as well. This minifigure was released in the sets TIE Interceptor 6206 and Imperial Landing Craft 7659. He's $5, and we're actually going to jump back up to 2007 where we get our very first AT-ST driver. He's the first of these pilot figs to have a flesh-colored face. It's actually a pretty decent print showing the goggles and chin strap. Also, that front printing on the body works really well, and the helmet mold is very appropriate. He came out in the set AT-ST 7657. He sells for $6, and 2010 gives us the very first sort of update to the TIE Fighter pilot. Technically, he is the TIE Defender pilot. He came out in the set TIE Defender 8087, as well as the Star Wars Advent Calendar for 2010. The most notable difference here is that the helmet is now different. This is, I think, the first time the mold ever came out for the new pilot helmet, and it looks really good. I feel like I say this all the time, but when it comes to minifigs, LEGO usually gets the molds right the first time around, and most of the time when they're updating a certain character for a minifig, they just focus on the prints. This Imperial helmet mold does not get updated ever. It hasn't gotten updated yet, at least. This minifig sells for $4 on BrickLink, and we have a relatively similar update the same year for 2010 for the AT-AT driver. The nice looking prints that we saw on the other previous Stormtrooper helmets for the AT-AT pilots has now been transferred over to this new mold. I believe the body remains exactly the same though, as well as the head. The head still is black. This minifigure came out in two sets. One was the AT-AT Walker 8129, and he also came out in the Snowtrooper Battle Pack 8084. He's a $3 minifig, relatively cheap, and this last guy from 2010 is actually one of our more expensive minifigs. He is the updated version of the Imperial Shuttle Pilot. He was released in the Ultimate Collector Series, Imperial Shuttle 10212, and really there isn't a whole lot special about this fig. That print for the torso is not exclusive. He's got a somewhat uncommon expression, at least for the Star Wars series, but because of the set he was released released, and he sells for a minimum of $18 on BrickLink. Now jumping up to 2011, we only get one new minifig, but he is certainly one of the coolest pilots in the entire collection. I think he might actually be my favorite. This is the Imperial V-Wing pilot. He came out in the Imperial V-Wing Starfighter set 7915. But what's so great about this guy is the matching up of the print on the face and this brand new helmet mold that matches up just right. What's great is that the print for the face is actually pretty nice, pretty ominous looking for sure, but there's also a lot of really nice printing on this new mold as well. The stripe going down the center is really cool, even though the one on this helmet is actually pretty crooked. Also, the torso printing for this guy is unique as well. He's got printing on the back, and there was just a lot of time and effort spent on this fig to make him look really cool. Despite just about every part of this minifig being exclusive to him and only him, he goes for $6 on BrickLink. Moving on up to 2012, we get two new figs. This first one is a TIE Fighter Pilot update. Not really much of an update. The only way to see it is if you take off the helmet. This is the pale balaclava face that we've got underneath, and I believe this fig came out in two sets, the TIE Fighter set 9492, as well as the TIE Interceptor and Death Star set 9676. He's $4. And the second guy that came out this year was an ATST driver, the last update for the ATST drivers. He came out on the set ATST and Endor 9679, and he's commonly referred to as ATST Pockets driver. That's because the updating here shows pockets. It's actually better kind of all around. There is printing on the back, and the detailing in general is just better. But on top of that, he also has an alternate expression, which the original ATST driver did not have. He looks super angry. I see him going for about $6 on BrickLink, and jumping up to 2013, this is our TIE Bomber pilot. He really isn't much different from the other TIE pilots that were both used for either TIE Bombers or TIE Fighters, except now the printing for the chest has been updated. It goes onto the back, and there's certainly a lot better detailing all around. Plus, we've got some much better updated prints for the helmet. I refer to him as the TIE Bomber pilot, and that's because he just came out in one set, the TIE Bomber and Asteroid Field set 75008. And he's the only minifig in this collection with a tan balaclava face. He's $5 on BrickLink, and 2014 brings us two new minifigs. This guy here is basically what your standard updated version of a TIE Fighter pilot now is. He's got a pretty regular disgruntled stormtrooper face, and that new printing from the torso we just saw now extends down to the legs. Also, the printing for the helmet has been updated, and this guy came out in two sets. One was the Microfighter TIE Interceptor 75031, as well as the Star Wars Advent Calendar for 2014 75056. He's $5, and let's check out the new AT-AT driver. This minifig is extremely accurate. I like this a lot. They've made his helmet now gray, and the red has now become much darker. We've got this nice gray-blue body, which is a lot more accurate, and the updated printing fits a lot better. I'd say this is a much nicer improvement from the last one, and he came out in the Microfighter AT-AT 75075, as well as the AT-AT set 75054. He's $3, and 2015 brings us the most new Imperial pilots for any year. There are 4 new ones. Let's knock this guy out of the way really quick. This is the TIE Fighter pilot from the Rebels series. So he came out in the Imperial Assault Carrier set 75106, the TIE Advanced Prototype 75082, as well as the Microfighter TIE Advanced 75128. The detailing is a lot simpler on the chest. I don't like it as much, and there are some more exaggerated printing on the lines of the helmet that don't really match up with the mold. This similar style of detailing is found on all of the Rebels figs, and you might have guessed this guy came out in so many recent sets that he is only selling for $2 on BrickLink. And to juxtapose that with quite the opposite, this is our Ultimate Collector Series TIE Fighter pilot, the only TIE Fighter pilot that has printed arms. The detailing for the body remains the same as the most recent TIE Fighter pilot, but we also have some really nice updated detailing for the helmet. Up until very recently, this is the only version of this kind of helmet in existence, but the Star Wars Rogue One set TIE Striker that is not out currently will have a TIE Fighter with the same pilot, so this is no longer an exclusive piece. So what really draws this guy out from the crowd are just the printing on the arms, as well as the slightly more inquisitive clone trooper face. Because of his Ultimate Collector Series release, he is $26 minimum on BrickLink, and let's check out our first ATDP Pilot. He's actually a pretty eerie looking figure. That print for the face kind of creeps me out, but the detailing on the body is great, and I like that printing on the helmet. He came out in the sets ATDP 75083, as well as the Microfighter ATDP 75130. He is $4, and our last fig of 2015 is actually not from the Empire, but I couldn't really not include him. He is from the First Order, and he came out in the Special Forces TIE Fighter set number 75101. The detailing for the body and the mold for the helmet and the printing on the helmet, everything is new. He still does come with the disgruntled stormtrooper clone trooper face, but the main thing that I really like about this guy is on the mold for the helmet, There's a bit of bend in that little breathing apparatus cord, and there's just something I like a lot about those new First Order helmets. Stormtroopers, flame troopers, pilots, I don't care, they just look good. He is $5, and our very last minifig is an Imperial combat driver. He came out in 2016 from Kanan's speeder bike 75141. He is exactly the same in terms of detailing for the Tdp Pilot, though his body is now in gray, and some of the colors for the printing has also changed to match up with this. He is a $4 fig, and we just finished off the entire collection for the Imperial pilots. Here they are all again together, and I gotta say, for the most part, the evolution of these figures was relatively predictable. Eventually got back printing, eventually got leg printing, updated a few designs, and there were of course a few outliers, a few unique figs that look a little bit different or just have some extra special printing. Anyways, it's a good collection to have, and I'm glad that we expanded a bit on the Empire. Okay, that is it for this episode. Thanks a lot for watching. If you enjoy our content, you can always like or subscribe, and if you have any ideas about another LEGO collection you want to see in the future, let us know in the comment section below. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.